Keyshawn, right to the point. The best NFL team in the state of Texas is now ... the
Houston Texans. Whew. The Houston Texans are the best professional football team in Texas.
Good. You listening?
Up,
Jerry, you listening?
Followed up by the Texas Longhorns as the second best football team, not NFL team, but football team.
Jerry, did you hear that?
Texas. And when you know, in all seriousness, though, when you look at the grand scheme of things and D'Amico Ryans and what they put together in the offseason in Houston, oh, my God. I was thinking about it when the question came up. In my mind, I looked at the roster, just the player, the notable guys. They got better players. They literally got better players.
They do. They do.
And they blew out the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs last year. They didn't get blew out. They took the other team to the woodshed.
They did.
And so I sit there and I said, I look, and then I believe they had, at some point, they had Baltimore kind of trembling a little bit.
They had them trembling.
C.J. Stroud, Dak Prescott. C.J.'s young. Dak Prescott has a little more, little more experience at it. But that's, you can chalk that up to a wash. If you really wanted to, you could say that's a wash, Skip. If you really wanted to. Never mind the age difference or experience difference, but if you just saw the Pepsi Coca-Cola test and you said,
that's a good one. That's
who is that?
Yeah.
You'd be like, man, I'll take that guy.
Like the blind test?
The blind test.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon is better than y'all running backs. Let's not even go there. Y'all don't have one.
Nope.
Stefon Diggs, C.D. Lamb,
I mean, I'll take CD, but I give it's close.
You'll take CD based on his production last year and Stefon Diggs' production that fell off at the end of the season. But it's close. Tank Dell, Brandon Cook, Nico Collins and Tolbert. I got Nico Collins.
I do too.
So you look at it. Dalton Schultz, Jake Ferguson, probably leaning toward Dalton Schultz. Laremy Tunsil versus Tyler Smith, we already know where that's going. You got Will Anderson, DeMarcus Lawrence. You got Danielle Hunter, Micah Parsons, right? You got Trayvon Diggs and Darryl Stingley Jr. And Jimmy Ward and Deron Bland. So when you look at it, the Texans got the better frontline guys. They just do. And I believe in all of everything, they got the better head coach.
No doubt.
I believe, well, you don't like Mike McCarthy.
But they just do.
I just think they got the better coach.
They do.
So they got the better team, Skip. You lose.
They got the better leader at head coach. They have the better commander at head coach.
Absolutely.
I like his body language on the field.
They play for him.
They do.
They don't play against him. They play for him.
No. Mike McCarthy is just a bump on the sideline log. He just goes along for the ride. I do think he's a pretty good to sometimes very good play caller, but he needs a quarterback to execute said plays. And if we do it right here, right now, it's like 50-50 between CJ and Dak. But if we're betting on the come, if we're looking at next year and the next year, CJ will be better than Dak Prescott.
Again, I'm not looking at the experience level because it's not fair when you go, he played 9 years and he's a rookie. I'm just, much like you saying, a couple years from now, that conversation won't come up. All right? I only see CJ getting better and better.
I do too.
I'll go on the record and say, and I like Dak. You know how I feel about him. I like him. CJ will have more postseason success in his career than Dak Prescott will.
I mean, in a way, he's already off to the races because they were really good against Cleveland.
I wouldn't be shocked again if the Texans somehow are in the AFC Championship game next season.
You already said they're better than Baltimore.
I think they are. Baltimore has lost a ton of stuff.
They have.
Okay?
They usually replace tons of stuff on the fly.
They have.
It's like an assembly line in Baltimore.
In the past, more so at the running back position than anything. They've replace it. But when you lose 3 starting offensive linemen, that's hard to replace. When you lose Jadeveon Clowney, who had double-digit sacks for you and had a certain energy level, and Patrick Queen at certain energy level, you lose that. That's saying a lot. That's just it is. So I don't really know. You know, the argument could be flip-flop. Either it's gonna be Baltimore or it's gonna be Houston. Kansas City's at the top, but it's going outside of that. Some people gonna pick Houston. Some people gonna pick Baltimore for the number 2 slot in the AFC.
All right. I cannot fight you on this one at all. The Texans, as we speak, right here, right now, as is, are better. I'll just say they're a little better than the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys,
they're a lot better.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys still have some talent. The cupboard's not bare.
Your left
Dallas.
tackle ain't even close to Laramie Tunsil.
No.
You got to protect the quarterback.
Because our first ballot Hall of Fame left tackle is a Jet.
But you don't have him no more. We're only talking about right now, Skip.
I got it. And we lost a very good center to Washington.
Yeah.
Biotish is really good. We lost a pretty good running back in Tony Pollard, and I don't see how we're going to replace him unless we draft somebody.
But you didn't want Tony Pollard back, though.
Well, again, he suffered a career-threatening injury in that playoff game 2 years ago at San Francisco, and he never quite got his burst back last year, but he was still pretty good, and they're going to have to replace him. We lost a linebacker who did make a Pro Bowl. I'm talking about Wolf Hunter, yeah.
Oh.
And Stefon Gilmore is still sitting out there unsigned, and I don't know if Jerry's just kind of waiting him out.
He's getting ready to Carolina, I think.
Well, he had been in the mix there. He was talking to them, had visited there, but I never heard the end of it.
I think it's close.
So I'm going to guess that we're going to lose him. And I'm saying, and replace with what? What are we doing? We signed our backup offensive tackle yesterday, okay, and Edoga. When he played left tackle last year in place of Tyron Smith, he was pretty good because it was pretty quiet over there. Okay, so that's all I got. We signed the linebacker that is Coach Zimmer's linebacker from Minnesota, and I'm like, okay, and because he's just sort of a coach on the field, he's just
But see, that's not just a little better. That's not when you say to me that you signed a veteran linebacker whose best days is left in the Twin Cities in Minnesota.
That is a fact.
That's not, Texans aren't just a little better.
Yeah. And when I look at the Texans receiver room, it is spilling over with receivers that we don't have. No. So the depth at receiver is way advantage Houston Texans.
Well, you go Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and if you want to throw Noah Brown in the mix, throw Noah Brown in there because
he wasn't very good for us, but he was good for them.
Yeah, and he's in the room. And then you say Dalton Schultz is in the room.
He's in the room, and he's a veteran tight end. Listen, Jake Ferguson came on, and he is a baller.
And he's going to continue to get better. Yeah. But Dalton Schultz is pretty ripe right now.
Look, we got one baller on our team. One guy I trust. One guy who's got that dog in him.
Lamb?
That's CeeDee Lamb. That's the guy. I'm not even sure what Micah is made of yet. I'm still not sure because every year he tails off at the end of the year. Do I see his spectacular ability? Sure I do. It leaps out of the screen every game to me.
But they went and got Danielle Hunter.
They got Danielle Hunter, and you want to talk about productivity? Go look at his productivity versus Micah's. And he's been a little more productive than Micah has start to finish.
So that's not a little bit better than Skip?
Hang in and defend as best I can.
That's not my fault. You can't defend it. There's nothing to defend.
Yeah, and then I keep reading about these mock drafts where everybody's got Dallas trading out of the 23rd pick, and I'm saying, you can't. My friend Phil Yates at ESPN, they just put up one this morning, and he's got Dallas trading out of the pick. I forget who went up to get it. Oh, San Francisco went up to get the tackle from Georgia, the left tackle, and I'm saying, we need him. You know, we can't afford to trade back because we don't have some picks down the line. Well, who cares? We better use our first-round pick and use our second-round pick to take starters.
Well, you trade out of it, get a couple second-round picks.
Okay, but you better be careful.
A starter.
Okay, but listen, you're down huge in the offensive line. Two really good players.
But you can get offensive lineman in the second round.
Okay, yeah, but you better, if somebody's left on the board who is a flat-out, bona fide, guaranteed, slam dunk, gotta have, you better take him. That's because they're desperate.
He's not going to be on the board in the 20s if he's a slam dunk, Skip.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
I mean, if he gets there, I don't know. This draft is loaded.
That's why if it's so loaded, you move out.
Why? I know, but
you can still get the value in the pick later on.
It's so loaded with quarterbacks because, listen, we
there's
can,
3 quarterbacks. Don't listen to that.
Okay, but no, there's 4. You don't like J.J. McCarthy. The more I look hard at J.J. McCarthy, I like him.
You're going to get fired.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to get anybody fired. I don't. I think Drake may get you fired.
I'm usually not wrong when it comes to quarterbacks.
Okay, well, I'm usually not wrong when it comes to quarterbacks.
You're going to get fired.
Go look at my record.
In the top 5.
Really? Okay, I'll be on record.
Man.
Okay, you like Drake May better than J.J.?
I do. Yeah, I do.
I don't.
Yeah, I do.
Drake maybe, that's what I think he is. Yeah.
You're just looking at the number, the team, North Carolina, Mitch Trubisky.
No, I watched him. No, I watched him. He's got some Carson Wentz in him. He doesn't have command of the position. People are falling in love with what he is.
Was really good for his first several years.
Yeah, and then what happened? Maybe he had one little stretch for Philadelphia, and then he lost.